Ms. Bruce, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, good morning. I'm going to take questions for exam 1.1, 1.3, which is on Friday morning at 8 o'clock. Today, I'm going to host a workshop at 3:30 in the afternoon. So you're welcome to come, but you have to let me know you're going to come so I can send you an invitation in your email. So the workshop is kind of a low key. It's not as formal as this. So if you have questions about the exam 1.1 through 1.3, come to the workshop at 3:30 today. Make sure that you send me a remind message though if you would like to be invited. All right, yesterday I went over the first part of lesson 1.4, and I'm going to finish up the lesson today, and we're going to spend about an hour in the Teams working problems online. So I'll explain more of that later. All right, so let's take a look. Yesterday we looked at 2 points on a line and we found the slope. That was problems 1 through 10 on page 213. We also had 2 different types of equations. We looked at point slope form, and we looked at slope intercept form. Okay, and we also looked at graphing a line, and if the slope is positive, the line is going up. If the slope is negative, the line is falling. If the slope is 0, the line is horizontal, and if the slope is undefined, that's when a 0 is in the denominator. It means that the line is vertical. We also looked at horizontal lines. So whenever you have y equals something, it's going through the y-axis. So it does not go through the x-axis. It goes through the y-axis. When you have x equals something, it goes through the x-axis. So x equals 3, x equals 1, x equals -1. So it's real simple. If it's a y, it goes through the y-axis. If it's an x equals a number, it goes through the x-axis. All right, does anybody want to ask me any questions right now about the exam, or anybody want to ask me about what I taught the other day? Okay, let me start with problem number 60 then. On problem number 60, you have 4x plus y is equal to 0. And the directions say you're going to write it in slope-intercept form. You're going to give the slope and the y-intercept, and you're going to graph it. So you've done this since Algebra 1. So it says to put it in slope-intercept form. So remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So you always solve for y. So when you solve for y, you get y is equal to -4x plus 0. So that's the first part. What's the slope? Well, the slope is what's being multiplied to the x. So what's the slope?
-4.
-4. What's the y-intercept?
0.
0, 0, 0, 0. So that's what they want next. So now when you do the graph, remember I showed you how to write the slope as -4/1. So if it's just an integer, you can always put it over 1, right? Like -4/1, -3/1, -2/1. And I showed you the alternate way of writing this. It would be up 4 left 1. So remember, the top is the y, up or down, and the bottom is left or right. So unmute yourself and read it to me. How would you read this?
Down 4, right 1.
Right, down 4, right 1. Say this, please. Unmute yourself, everybody. Down 4, right 1.
Down 4,
Down
right
4,
1.
Down
right
for the right one.
Down for the right one. What about this one? How would you read this one?
Up or left one?
Up for
Right,
left
up
one.
4, left
Up 4,
1.
left 1.
Up 4, left 1. So we're going to start 0, 0. And I'm going to go down 4, right 1, down right 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1. I'm out of room. So that's why I wrote this one. Up 4, left 1. And you draw your graph. That's it. That's it. So let's 62. So on 62, you have 4x plus 6y plus 12 equals 0. So what do you think about that problem?
There's a 6 attached to the Y.
Yeah, but yep. And what else do you notice about the problem? Don't you notice that they're all divisible by 2? So can't you simplify an equation? Yes? No? Can't divide everything by 2 and simplify it?
Yes.
All right. So before slope intercept form, we're going to simplify it. So divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. So we'd rather use that than that. So now solve for y. Subtract 2x from both sides. And you're going to subtract 6 from both sides. And now divide by 3. Now, in the past, you saw me just leave it like that, but they want it in slope intercept form, so you have to split it up. So wouldn't this be negative 2/3 x minus 2? Because don't you have to put the negative 2x and the negative 6? I'm sorry, don't you have to put 3 under both of those numbers? You guys with me or no?
Yes.
So now the slope is down 2, right 3, down 2, right 3, or up 2, left 3, up 2, left 3, and the up is 0, down 2, correct?
Yes.
So now you start with the y-intercept at 0, down 2. And read the slope to me, please. What is it?
Left 2, right 3.
The top number is up or
Down 2, right 3.
Down 2, right 3.
so it's down 2, right 3, and I'm out of room, so I'm going to use this one, up 2, left 3, and I'm on my line. Now, is this line falling or rising?
Falling.
So what's that mean about the slope? Slope should be what? Positive or negative?
Negative.
So see, we can kind of check ourselves. The line is falling and our slope is negative, so we have a high level of confidence we did it right. Now you guys can solve for y, right? Over here.
Yes.
Okay, I want to do another problem. 66. Okay, it's 4y plus 28 equals 0. What do you notice about this problem?
There's no
Zero
X.
X.
There's no x, so it means it's going to go through the y-axis, right? What else do you notice?
You can divide by 2.
Okay, yep, but you can do better than that. You can divide by
4.
Yep. So divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. So look at that. It's y equals -7, right? What line is that? Is this line going through the y-axis or the x-axis?
The Y-axis.
Y.
So isn't it going through the y-axis at -7 like that?
Yeah.
Isn't that a horizontal line? If they asked you what's the slope, wouldn't the slope be 0 because there's no steepness?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you guys see this? All right, now I'm going to do one more problem with you. Well, a couple more. Problem number 68. So I actually forgot to teach this last period, so I'll have to do it with them. But basically, you know how to make a table to graph a line. That's tedious. You know how to use slope intercept to graph a line. One more method. This is called X and Y intercepts. And you want to use this method when it's hard to solve for Y. So watch number 68. So 68 is 6x. We should have used it. We could have used it on that problem. I'm going to do that problem in a minute again using this. 68, 6x minus 9y minus 18 equals 0. So it's kind of like that problem. And I don't know about you, but don't you think that was a lot of work? Yeah. Okay, so watch this. We can simplify. This is all divisible by 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. Okay, now, what I'm going to do, instead of solving for y, I get x equal to 0 and find the y-intercept. So watch this. I'm going to set x equal to 0, which means I'm going to get -3y minus 6 equals 0. And that's really 3y plus 6 equals 0, and you multiply by a negative. When you subtract 6, you get that, and when you divide by 3, you get y is equal to -2. So we just found the y. If you set y equal to 0, you get 2x minus 6 equals 0, which you can divide. Well, we could have divided that by 3 too, but you could divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2 would be x equals 3 is 3, 0. So I'm going to erase this one. Divide everything by, well, first of all, get rid of the negative. So 3 plus 6 equals 0. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Y equals -2. So that's better. So what happens here is when you go to graph. Sorry, my pen's so light. You're not doing slope intercept form. Look what you're doing. You're graphing 0 down 2 and you're graphing right 3, 0, and you just connect the points. So that's another way to graph when it's hard or wide. So on number 62, they wanted you to use slope-intercept form, but let's just do an example the other way. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do any of this. So instead of solving for y for slope-intercept form, I'm going to use the x and y intercept method where I just find 2 points. Watch. So if you set x equal to 0, that makes that a 0, right? So that'd be 3y plus 6 equals 0. Wish I had a pen that worked. When you set x equal to 0, you get 3. 3y plus 6 equals 0. Divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, y is equal to -2. So you just found down 2. 0 down 2. When you set y equal to 0, you get 2x plus 6 equals 0. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, x is equal to -3. So you get left 3, 0. Now you just have to be careful. This is x, y, x, y. So instead of doing slope-intercept, all we have to do is just graph 2 points and we're done. So we just go 0, 2, left 3, 0, and draw a graph. So now you know a few ways to graph. You know how to make a table, which is tedious. You know how to graph by using slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, where you find the slope and the intercept. And now I method. This is called x and y intercepts because you're finding the y-intercept and you're finding x-intercept. You're just connecting the points. Would you like me to do another one of these or no?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm going to do problem number 72. Okay, check this out. Six x minus 3y plus 15 equals 0. Can you simplify this?
Yes, by 3.
Yep. So divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. Now, this isn't too bad to solve for y, but they say to use x and y intercepts. So watch. If you set x equal to 0, you get negative y plus 5 is equal to 0, which is -5, y equals -5, which is y is +5. So your y-intercept is 0 up 5. If you set y equal to 0, you get 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. 2x equals -5, which is equal to -5 halves. So the x-intercept would be -2.5, 0. So when you graph this, you get 0 up 5. You get left 2.5, 0, and you draw the graph. So this is just, this one seems harder, but it's actually easy when you know how to do it. You just haven't done it a lot, so it seems weird. So this is 0 up 5, and this is left 5 halves 0. Okay, so here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do something different, and it went really well last period, so we're going to try it in here. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do the online problems, and in the teams today, we're going to work on the screen. So in Google Meets, in your teams, there's a button on the right that says present. You're going to pick share. I'm going to show you right now in WebEx. What you're going to do is you're going to go to your book. Okay, I'm already there. So you're going to go to page 213. See it right here? 213 in My Math Lab. And you're going to pick on these globes and pick problems. So, for example, you would say, okay, you guys, which problem do you want to work? Number 5? Okay, we're going to work number 5. So everyone's going to write down the problem. So do this with me right now so we can practice. So write this down. -3, -6, and -8, -6. Just write notes. Okay, now some people last period were trying to do this in your head. You can't do this in your head. So I'm doing this with you. -3, -6, -8, -6. Okay, we want to find the slope. We get m is equal to what? Y sub 1, it's a change in y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, right? So what's y sub 2?
-6.
Okay, and that would be minus a -6, right? So we have negative minus.
-8 minus -6, or minus -3.
Right. So we get -6 plus 6 over -8 plus 3, which is 0 over -5. So what's the slope? What's 0 over -5?
0.
Right. So we're going to put 0 in here. And then we're going to check our answer. And it says we did it. Now, for those of the, okay, so then it says there's another part. It says, is the line, does it rise, fall? Is it horizontal or vertical? What does m equals 0 mean?
Horizontal?
Horizontal?
That's right. So we're going to check our answer. So I'll do one more problem before I let you go. Let's do one more problem. Everybody write this down. 8, 7. You're just putting this on scratch paper. -7, 7. The slope formula is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So what are you going to write? What's y sub 2 minus y sub 1?
7 minus 7?
Yep. And what's x sub 2 minus x sub 1? Is it negative 7 minus 8?
Yeah.
So don't you get 0 over negative 15, which is 0, right?
Yeah.
So once again, we put a 0 in here and we check our answer. Nice work. So what does this tell you? Is the line horizontal, vertical? Does it fall or rise?
Horizontal.
Nice work. Okay, so once you're going to have the time 11:19 and class in at 12:10. So you almost have an hour. You're going to have somebody in your team. There's not going to be 2 people today. So if you have 2 people, I'm going to split you up. So you're going to have somebody in your team share their screen, and you're going to go to page 213 text, and you guys are going to choose problems to do on your scratch paper. Don't forget that you have to work together on your scratch paper, and then the person who's presenting will input the problem. Okay? All right, I'll see you in your teams. Let's see how this goes. So let's see if we can work these online problems clicking on the globes. All right? So you can get out of this meeting and go to your math teams.